YouTube, this is Sigoma here from Classic PC Arcade and Console Gaming and Retro Tech. Today I'm going to be talking about a topic that's kind of been on my mind for quite a while. This topic is Microsoft's Kinnect, essentially their answer to the Nintendo Wii's Wiimote and the PlayStation's Sony's Move controller. My reaction on that is, and especially lately it seems to be that they're doing this, they're literally shoving it down your throat. Every time, for example, when I turn on my 360, I want to say play Raiden 4 or something like that, something totally unConnect related, I get all these ads for like, get Kinnect, it's better with Kinnect. It's like, okay, when I'm playing, won't even work with a Kinnect, for one thing. None of my games do. And I really don't have an interest in the Kinnect. If I got one as a gift, you know, I'd keep it. But from where I'm living right now, I don't have the space for a Kinnect. And it seems to be that a lot of people really don't. And you need to have just the right amount of lighting. You need to be at least 8 feet from your television, or video monitor, projector, whatever you're using, or from where the sensor is located. You need to be at least 8 feet from it, which is everybody. Yeah, the big wigs at Microsoft probably do have these, you know, 3-acre living rooms or man caves or dens where they can have something like Kinnect and work properly. But if you live in an apartment or a normal sized house, you probably don't have that kind of room, which can be a bit of an issue, especially with some of the games that require you to move a lot. Most of the Kinnect games that are really popular anyway require you to move, and a lot of people are not as excited about it as they used to be. And some of the more recent games, like the Kinnect Star Wars, as I understand, in terms of its control, and from what I've heard and read from people, it's junk. It's worthless. It's not a game that you want to play with Kinnect, because it's not fast enough, it's not responsive enough. Sometimes the character will do the opposite thing you want them to do. Like, instead of attacking, they might run the opposite direction, or they might attack in the opposite direction, and you end up getting hurt or even killed. If it's a puzzle thing, you may fail the puzzle because it doesn't respond to your movements correctly. A lot of problems that people have been experiencing with the Kinnect. It doesn't, I guess, from what I've heard from some people, it doesn't work well with kids that are under 5 feet in height. So, you know, essentially giving your kids that are 10 and under essentially the finger, saying, hey, get out of here, shorty, you're too small to be playing Kinnect. When a lot of the games like Kinnectimals are actually designed, or it's intentionally meant for small children, or at least designed with them in mind. But if the sensor can't detect your 3-year-old's movements, then the game is worthless to them. And on top of that, it costs you $150 or more for the sensor, unless you happen to get it with one of the newer 360s. Oh, and that brings up another problem. The older 360s, like similar to the one that I have, the previous generation black and white 360s, even the newer Jasper ones, have been known to have issues, and have caused hardware issues with the Kinnect. I don't know if it's the Kinnect is drawing too much power, or it's not electrically or software-wise compatible. It's doing something. People have claimed everything from software crashes to hard drive crashes to OS crashes to even the red ring of death on a system that was previously working perfectly. Most people are not appreciative of a piece of hardware that's just going to break their system, and that's one of the many reasons I never purchased a Kinnect. And the kind of games I like to play are best played with a controller. not with the Kinnect. As the angry video game nerd said about the Power Glove, it sucks so much it fucks. It fucks so much it sucks. And matter of fact, that's probably a good description for the Kinnect, especially with certain types of games that are just not really, to their core, not really designed for Kinnect. I would abandon Xbox if Microsoft decided to go nothing but Kinnect and tried to make the third-party developers go nothing but Kinnect. A lot of them would drop Xbox, and the platform would essentially fall on its face. It's like even Nintendo isn't forcing the motion controls on people really anymore, because they're realizing that it doesn't always work for every game, and if they are any motion controls, they're very subtle. They're not extremely invasive like they were at launch. There were a lot of them at launch because they wanted to prove that, hey, this is not just another GameCube, this is a totally different system. And matter of fact, I happen to have one of those titles, one of the launch titles, and that would be Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz. Uses motion control exclusively. That's the only way you can play the game. You can't plug in a GameCube, you can't use a classic controller, you can't use the D-pad, you have to use the motion. And if the game is just E for everyone, which means it's designed also for kids, I don't know, I mean, the kid must have been born with the patience of Job. There's absolutely no way a normal child would have any patience for that game. It's incredibly hard, and if your coordination is poor, which a lot of times children don't, of course, they're not born with perfect coordination. Especially you get 4 and 5-year-olds, they don't have the coordination, say, of a 20-year-old, adult. And kids generally, by nature, are not very patient, and they're more likely to get very frustrated with it. Of course, being at one time being a child myself, I can see where the kids would get frustrated with it. And even adults, I guess, I've heard that have played it, enjoyed it, but yeah. But of course, being adults, they were more patient and managed to work their way through it. But they would say there's no way a child can do this. They're right. Some games are just not friendly enough in terms, or straightforward enough that where kids can play it without getting horrendously frustrated and then just giving up because they can't figure out how to play it, or they can't beat the level. Which, even for adults, can be frustrating. And Nintendo's tried to fix that with games like New Super Mario Bros. Wii, Donkey Kong Country Returns, where they add kind of like, okay, you screwed up, 4 or 5 times, this is how you get to the level, and it's the best way to do it. And they give you an example about the best way to get to the level. Where that is, but Microsoft doesn't do that. And on top of that, their tech support sucks. Their tech support is horrible. People, instead of trying to get a hold of them, is like trying to pull teeth out with string, without tying it to a doorknob. It's impossible, nearly impossible to get hold of them. It's like one guy said on Amazon, it says Microsoft loves money but hates their customers. And hearing essentially similar complaints from other people, that actually almost makes sense. They are such a monopoly, especially with the PC business. They own the operating system business. There really isn't anybody else except Linux, but almost nobody's even taking Linux seriously. The reason why people are abandoning Windows for Linux, all these people on CNET that are so-called Linux devotees and all this stuff, it's because they're tired of the quality of Microsoft. And now that, with this upcoming Windows 8 and all its horrible rumors, And with the combination with the problems with Kinnect, Microsoft is, I don't know, their future is kind of uncertain. And Kinnect is a terrible thing. I mean, if it was done correctly, they took some time to program it, and developers could learn how to take advantage of it. But why? Most of their games wouldn't be very playable with Kinnect. Games that require instant movement or fine control are not going to work correctly with Kinnect. At least Microsoft hasn't tried to turn Forza Motorsport or Project Gotham Racing into a Kinnect game, or turn Gears of War or Halo. Into Kinnect, but I understand that Halo 4 is going to have a few Kinnect elements, but thank the Lord that it's not going to go completely Kinnect, because the whole series has such a long history and so many devoted fans that if they made that one Kinnect only, it would kill the series. People would be like, fuck this. Some people would find out that it wouldn't work correctly, or and especially with the past track record with Kinnect games, people might actually avoid the game. They may not even buy it, no matter how much Microsoft tries to push it. And as a matter of fact, it would ruin the franchise. It would severely damage the Xbox brand's credibility and their reputation, because they've made some very high quality games. I mean, it was bad enough as it was with the Red Ring of Death in the first couple of years of the 360's life cycle, let alone have another device or product that literally fell with a thump because it didn't work correctly or it was unreliable. Microsoft has, except for their mice and keyboards, they haven't had a real perfect track record with electronic devices. The only game console they made that was actually halfway decent was the original Xbox. Yeah, I mean, it had a few issues in the very beginning, but they were ironed out pretty quickly. So for most of its life cycle, which was only a mere 4 years, which was kind of sad, the system died prematurely, it had a much more reliable hardware. There are a lot of Xboxes that were purchased at launch that are still in service. People still play even to this day. Partially people keeping them, partially some people are collectors like myself. Some people just want to be able to have full compatibility with all the Xbox games. The 360's backwards compatibility is sad. For one thing, it's software emulation, which is never as good as having the original hardware. Some games behave erratically, or they behave strangely, or they have frame rate problems, sound problems, control problems, or just general software compatibility. Several hundred games don't even work on the 360 at all, which is another reason why it fell flat on its face. And Microsoft thought, well, hey, nobody wants an Xbox anymore, they just want 360, and so they canceled it. A lot of people felt burned that just went out and bought an original Xbox, brand new, and then less than 2 months later they found out that it had been canceled by Microsoft. They weren't even supporting it anymore. And the 360s were hard to get. The ones that people did have were breaking down. Microsoft was complaining that people weren't buying games and accessories. Well, there were only about 20,000, after launch, only about 20,000 systems. So, I mean, this all comes back to the Kinnect and Microsoft's track record. Their reputation as a whole, in terms of hardware quality, isn't that great. The exception of the original Xbox and the mice and keyboards, and maybe even gamepads were actually quite good too. But beyond that, their track record for hardware quality is not very high. And you know, it just kind of makes me wonder about their future if they don't get this. And I guess supposedly the next version of Kinnect, the one that's going to be with the 720 Xbox or whatever they're going to call it, they said that they've improved it, but I gotta see it to hear it or see it to believe it, that they've improved it. Because from what I'm hearing, I haven't heard anything new about it in quite a while. I'm not so sure about even the Kinnect on the you know, the 360 low on the next gen, when they're, you know, after the Kinnect was such pretty much a disaster on the 360. I don't know how it's going to be any better on the next Xbox, which we're not even sure of exactly when it's coming out. Some people say it's 2013, some people say it's 2015, so there's a lot of conflicting release dates. So it's not even set in stone when it's going to be released yet. Unlike the Wii U, I would like to see Nintendo come back. I'd like to see them become one of the top manufacturers and developers of hardware and games again. They're the ones that there wouldn't be an Xbox brand. There wouldn't be a PlayStation brand if it hadn't been for Nintendo. Nintendo saved the industry. So, well, have a good day from classic PC gaming, classic vintage PC gaming and console and arcade and vintage tech. This is Sigoma. Have a good one.